suspect it would take a pretty evil person to fail to get into heaven. I mean, I've always thought that you have to try really hard to be condemned to eternal punishment. I can't imagine the scene in today's gospel where Jesus says someone will be knocking on the door of the kingdom of God and will be told, "Go away, I don't know you." But Jesus is pretty clear about the fact that not all will be saved. In spite of God's abundant mercy and compassion, there will still be some people who will not want to spend an eternity with God and the saints and their loved ones. For whatever reason, some will choose, by the way they have lived, to remain separated from the loving community that is heaven. I think one way that some may choose to reject God is, of course, by failing to love their neighbor. Again, Jesus is very clear through all the Gospels about how important it is to demonstrate an active love of others, to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, comfort the sorrowful, to forgive people, to have compassion on others. If we can do that, then we're demonstrating not only a love for that person, but a love of the God who created them. Jesus even implies that there are some people who are not religious in any sense. They don't belong to any faith, perhaps, but they still know how to love their neighbor. He says that people will come from the north, south, east, and west and be invited to be seated at the table in God's kingdom. Just because you're a certain religion does not mean that your entrance into heaven is guaranteed. Now, this may surprise us because sometimes we may have the tendency to become a little smug about our faith. You know, we go to church, we say our prayers. We may assume that our name is already high on the list of invited guests to the kingdom of God. But we should be careful not to be presumptuous. There's still work to be done. There is still time for us to do more, to practice the works of mercy, to give of ourselves to other people. We should never grow tired of doing what is good and right in the eyes of God, and to love our neighbor as ourselves. So when the disciples asked Jesus, "Lord, will only a few be saved?" Jesus responds by saying that it really depends on us. If we could pass through the narrow door, then we are home. But passing through the narrow door requires that we empty ourselves, that we surrender what is important in our eyes and do what is important in God's eyes. And that can be accomplished by sharing our love